Hi everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the artist Kandinsky. He was an abstract artist, and so he used mostly lines, colors, and shapes. And these are two of his paintings, I just printed them out, that remind me of outer space. And today we are going to make an outer space Kandinsky inspired work of art. So I wanted to show you these, to show you that he mostly used circles in this one, and that's what reminds me of outer space, how it's all black and then there's all these colorful circles floating around like planets or moons. And in this one's even more abstract. It has a lot of lines and even some patterns and shapes. This reminded me of the moon, that circle right there, a white circle with kind of gray splotches on it. And I really like how he has these little decorative lines around. And so we're going to be using, I'm going to show you the supplies we need today. A black piece of paper, a white piece of paper, and then some colorful little scraps of paper, little pieces. And then either construction paper crayons or pastels would be good for drawing on the black paper. So to start off with, I'm going to be making some drawings on my black paper. So I'm starting on my black paper, and since I'm trying to make it look a little bit like outer space too, and not just totally lines and shapes, I might make some dots to make stars, or I might even draw some stars. I'm also going to draw some circles like Kandinsky on my paper, so kind of like this one. And I might even make them look like certain planets, if I know certain planets. Or I can just draw circles around. So this is the first thing I'm going to do, is draw some things to make my paper look like outer space. Once you have all of your details on your black paper, we're going to move it out of the way and get our white piece of paper. And we're actually going to do something kind of fun. We're going to scribble on this one. When I scribble, I'm not pushing super hard so that I break my crayon. I'm just not worried about getting every single white place. So whenever you're scribbling, this paper is actually going to be our planets. Some of our planets are our circles. So think about what colors that you might want to use for your planets when you're scribbling. And you can go ahead and pick out some colors that you want to use. And while I scribble on my white paper, you can go ahead and try to fill most of your paper. It's okay if you leave the edges around so that you don't accidentally color on the table, but I'm just coloring, and I'm not worried about getting all of the white places. And we're actually going to be cutting this paper in a few minutes. But for now, on our white paper, I just want you to scribble in the colors that you want your planets to be. Once you do that, and if you need to pause the video to finish, you can. Once you do that, we're going to turn our paper over. So this is the back of my scribbly paper, and I'm going to draw some circles on the back. Doesn't really matter how many I draw. All right, so now that I've got my circles, I'm going to cut these out. And I'm cutting them out on the back, and I drew them on the back. That way we don't see my lines when I turn it over. So when I cut this out and I turn it over, I can't see my lines. All right, so that's the next thing that we're going to do, is on the back of your white paper. It doesn't matter what color you draw with because we're cutting it out anyway. We're gonna draw our circles, and you're probably not gonna have space for all of the circles that you cut out, so you can decide which ones that you like the best and what sizes you need once you cut them out. So I think that's probably plenty for me for the space that I have. So then I'm going to see, I can only fit 3, and these are my 3 favorites. So I'm gonna figure out where I want to put them on my paper, and I'm gonna take my glue stick, and whenever we glue, you guys totally know this, but we put our glue on the back and press it down, and I don't have my glue stick out very far. That way I don't waste any. So I'm just gluing these down wherever I can find in space, and it's okay if you end up covering something up. It's not a big deal. So I've got my cutout planets, and they're with my drawn planets. And I am using this for my inspiration. So the next thing I'm going to do is use some of my paper scraps, and I'm going to show you some fun things we can do with these. So you can see here, there's kind of a different shape with a zigzag line. It almost looks like teeth. These lines have little squares and circles on them, and these are just big colorful lines, and it looks like it's popping out, almost like a little bridge. So I am going to show you something neat that you can do to make your picture 3D. So if I take a little strip, and if you don't have a little strip, you may have to take your scissors and cut it a little bit thinner. Okay, I can fold the end to make a little foot like this. You can see my little foot. Do the same thing on the other side. Fold it to make a little foot, and then on my feet, if I put glue, I can glue it down, and the ring of my planet is popping off the paper. So I'm going to put glue right there where I folded the paper, and I'm going to show you. I put my glue there, and whenever you're gluing something popping off of your paper, it's important to hold it there for a second while your glue dries. You may have to sit there for a minute, let your glue dry. Okay, but look, it's popping off of the paper. So the next thing we're going to do is make some things that are popping off of our paper. Now, it doesn't have to be a ring on your planet like Saturn has. It could even be, we could pretend that this is the sun. Or you know what? I could even cut out a circle from this piece of paper that I have and make a sun. I'm going to make a sun right here. I'm going to make some triangles, some more shapes that pop off. So if I cut out a triangle, I cut out the shape, I have to make my little foot for my glue. So I'm going to fold it right there. So I have a little foot. And sometimes I like to just rub it on there. And I'm going to hold it there, and you can see it's popping off. Okay, so I'm going to make a few more of those in a minute. But for now, I'm just going to show you some more inspiration from here. I could make more rings that are popping off. I could glue strips just for decoration. So what I'm going to do now is just decorate the rest of this, and then I'll show you how it looks when I'm done. Okay, so I've added a lot of details, and I'm going to show you how to make some of these. The first thing I'm going to show you how to make is this Zigzaggy Pop-Up. So you'll need a skinny strip of paper, and all I'm going to do is something called an accordion fold. So I'm going to fold one way and the other way, one way, the other way. I'm going to do that down the whole strip of paper. Squish it, and then when I open it, it looks like a bunch of Z's or M's, and I still have my little feet. So I'm just going to get some glue on there and find a good place on my paper. I thought it kind of looked like an explosion or fire, maybe like from a comet or an asteroid or even an alien spaceship like I put right there. So just find a good place. And these are all 3D. That means they are popping up, which makes this a paper sculpture. A sculpture is a 3D work of art, one that's not flat. So this is definitely not flat anymore. I also went back and added some more stars. I added a spaceship. I added some layers on my sun. I wanted it to look like fire, something hot. Okay, so what you're gonna do is finish decorating and adding details. And if you have extra time at the end, you can always see what you can make out of your paper scraps to put on, or you can draw more stars. You can make aliens, extra planets, whatever you think, a spaceship, like a rocket, comets and asteroids, anything that you would find in space. Or you can just make abstract things that don't really look like anything, or more circles. So we created today an outer space work of art inspired by the artist Kandinsky.